Gunfire echoed through an abandoned warehouse as terrified men scrambled behind shipping crates. One after another, they dropped their weapons and fell to their knees. Their leader looked up as polished black shoes stopped in front of him. Ji-hoon Kang, Korea's most feared mafia boss, stood perfectly calm in a spotless black suit. "You've wasted my afternoon," he said. "Please," the rival leader begged. "We'll leave Seoul. You'll never see us again." "That's what you said 6 months ago." "I mean it this time." A heavy silence filled the warehouse. "If I wanted you dead," Ji-hoon said quietly, "you wouldn't have seen me walk through that door." The man trembled. "Then, why am I still alive?" Ji-hoon glanced at his watch. "My wife hates when I come home late." Everyone froze. He turned to his right-hand man, Han Tae-jin. "Collect their weapons. Burn the warehouse. Leave them alive." "Boss, that's all. They've learned today's lesson." Ji-hoon walked away, leaving dozens of stunned men behind. No one could believe Korea's most ruthless mafia boss had spared an enemy because he promised his wife dinner. If you love emotional stories filled with impossible choices and unforgettable romance, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and tell us in the comments. Would you choose power or the person you love? An hour later, Ji-hoon stood in a neighborhood supermarket choosing vegetables. An elderly woman accidentally bumped her cart into his. "Oh dear, I'm sorry." "It's all right," he replied with a faint smile before helping her reach a bag of oranges. No one around him knew the quiet man buying groceries had spent the afternoon deciding the fate of a criminal empire. His phone rang. "Amara. You sound tired," she said. "I had meetings." She laughed. "Your mysterious meetings again? They pay the bills. They also steal my husband. I'll be home in 20 minutes. You'd better be. I made your favorite stew." A genuine smile appeared on his face. "Then I'll be there in 15. I love you." "I love you too." Outside, Han watched his boss walk out carrying grocery bags. "I'll never get used to seeing you smile. Don't tell anyone. My life depends on keeping your secrets." "It does." Both men laughed. At home, the apartment smelled of fresh stew and herbs. "I brought dessert," Ji-hoon announced. Amara turned around and smiled. "You also bought enough strawberries for the whole neighborhood." "They were on sale." She laughed, straightened his tie, and kissed his cheek. "Long day." "The usual." During dinner, they talked about her patients, a stray cat she wanted to adopt, and everything except Ji-hoon's work. Years ago, he had only told her he worked in international logistics, and she had trusted him without asking more. Then she noticed a bruise on his wrist. "Hold still. It's nothing." "It doesn't look like nothing." She gently held his hand. "You promised me. No more hiding injuries." He lowered his eyes. "I'm sorry. When you hurt, I hurt." He squeezed her hand, unable to find better words. Across the street, a camera shutter clicked. A man inside a black SUV photographed the couple through their apartment window before sending the images to a secure phone. Seconds later, a message appeared. "Confirmed. She lives there." The next morning in Prague, Viktor Petrov studied the photographs. "So the rumors were true." An advisor nodded. "Ji-hoon has no addictions. No gambling. No drinking. No mistress. No political ambitions." Victor tapped Amara's picture. "But he has her." "Yes." "How often do they meet?" "Every Friday after her hospital shift." The advisor hesitated. Attacking Ji-hoon directly would be suicide. Victor smiled. "I agree. So what's the plan?" "We don't attack Ji-hoon." He slid Amara's photograph to the center of the table. "We attack his heart." Back in Seoul, Friday arrived like every other week. Ji-hoon waited in the hospital cafe while Amara finished her shift. "There you are," she smiled as she sat down. "You've been waiting long?" 12 minutes. "You counted." "I always count when I'm waiting for you." She laughed and reached for his hand. "You make me wonder how I got so lucky." His phone vibrated. Ji-hoon ignored it. "Aren't you going to answer?" she asked. It can wait. I'm glad. Neither of them noticed a man in hospital scrubs watching from the corridor. He touched the hidden earpiece beneath his collar. The target is confirmed. Outside, 3 black vans rolled slowly toward the hospital entrance. The lead van stopped without attracting attention. 3 men dressed as emergency maintenance workers stepped out, pushing large equipment cases toward the hospital entrance. Another team quietly disabled the security cameras covering the east wing while a hacker intercepted the hospital surveillance feed. Inside the cafe, Amara stood. "I'll be right back. One of my patients needs me." Ji-hoon smiled. "I'll wait. You always do." She squeezed his hand before walking away. The moment she disappeared around the corner, Han called again. This time Ji-hoon answered. "What is it?" "Boss, we've intercepted an unusual activity near the hospital." "I don't like it." Ji-hoon's expression hardened. "Where are you?" "2 minutes away." "I'm coming outside." As Ji-hoon stood, every light inside the hospital suddenly went out. The cafe erupted in confusion. People gasped. Children cried. Emergency backup lights flickered but never came on. Ji-hoon's instincts screamed. "Amara!" He ran. Doctors and nurses rushed through the dark hallways, calling for flashlights. Patients shouted from their rooms. "Move!" Ji-hoon yelled as he pushed through the crowd. At the nurses' station, he grabbed a frightened intern. "The trauma surgeon. Dr. Amara Johnson." "Where is she?" I don't know." His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered immediately. A cold voice spoke. "You're looking for your wife." Ji-hoon stopped running. "What have you done?" "She's safe, for now. If you touch her, you'll do nothing until I finish speaking." The call ended. For the first time in years, Ji-hoon felt something he thought he'd buried long ago. Fear. Outside, Han arrived with 6 armed men. "Boss, they took her." Han froze. "Who?" "I don't know yet." Another phone buzzed. A video appeared. Ji-hoon pressed play. Amara sat tied to a chair inside a dimly lit warehouse. Her face was bruised, but she stared defiantly at the camera. "Ji-hoon," she said, trying to stay calm. "Don't do anything reckless." A masked man struck her across the face. "Enough," another voice ordered. The camera turned. A tall man stepped into view. "Good evening, Mr. Kang." "Victor Petrov." "I'm pleased you know my name. If she dies, so do you." Victor smiled. "I expected that answer. What do you want?" "Everything." Ji-hoon remained silent. "Your ports." Silence. "Your warehouses." Nothing. "Your accounts." Still nothing. "And your syndicate." Han's eyes widened. The men around him looked at one another in disbelief. Victor leaned closer to the camera. "You have 72 hours to sign over your empire." Ji-hoon's voice was steady. "And if I refuse?" Victor looked at Amara. "I'll send you one piece of your wife every 12 hours. The screen went black. Han slammed his fist against a car. "We attack now." Ji-hoon didn't answer. "We know people across Europe. We'll find him." Still nothing. "Boss." Finally, Ji-hoon spoke. "Call every captain." Within an hour, the Kang Syndicate's senior leaders gathered inside the underground headquarters. The room buzzed with anger. "We should declare war. We'll destroy Petrov. He can't hide forever." Everyone spoke at once until Ji-hoon raised one hand. Silence. "What does he want?" one captain asked. "My empire." The room exploded again. "Impossible. He's insane. No one gives away generations of power." Han stepped forward. "Boss, we can rescue Madame Amara." Ji-hoon looked around the room. "How many innocent people will die if we start a war?" No one answered. He continued. "And if we fail?" Another silence. One elderly captain finally spoke. "With respect, one life cannot be worth an empire." Ji-hoon's eyes met his. "To you, perhaps. The captain lowered his head. Another lieutenant stood. If you surrender everything, what happens to us? Ji-hoon answered honestly. I don't know. The uncertainty shook the room more than any threat. As the meeting ended, whispers filled the corridors. Our boss has become weak. He'll destroy everything. He'd sacrifice us all for one woman. Hidden in the shadows, one ambitious captain quietly slipped out of the building and made a phone call. The cracks are beginning, he told Victor. You were right. Victor smiled as he ended the call. The king is losing his own kingdom, and he doesn't even know it. The next morning, Ji-hoon sat alone in his office, staring at the transfer documents spread across his desk. Every signature would erase decades of power built by his family. Every page would hand his enemies everything they had fought to protect. Han walked in carrying a tablet. We found 3 possible locations. Ji-hoon looked up immediately. Show me. Han placed satellite images on the desk. Our teams searched all night. By the time they reached each warehouse, Petrov had already moved. So he expected us. Yes. Han hesitated before speaking again. Boss, there's something else. What is it? Several captains are refusing your orders. Ji-hoon wasn't surprised. They think you've lost your nerve. They're wrong. I know. Han lowered his voice. If you give away the syndicate, they'll never follow you again. Ji-hoon leaned back. I'm not asking them to. Hours later, another video arrived. Amara looked exhausted, but her spirit hadn't broken. Ji-hoon, she pleaded, don't sacrifice everything because of me. Before she could say another word, Victor stepped into view. Time is running out. Ji-hoon's eyes never left Amara. Let her speak. Victor smiled. You still don't understand. This isn't a negotiation. It's a lesson. He looked into the camera. I want the world to see that every king has a price. The screen went dark. 72 hours had become 24. At sunset, Ji-hoon's convoy arrived at an abandoned shipping terminal overlooking the sea. Victor was already waiting beside a long table. Lawyers sat quietly with stacks of documents. Amara was brought forward in handcuffs. The moment their eyes met, tears filled hers. I'm sorry, she whispered. Ji-hoon smiled gently. You have nothing to apologize for. Victor slid a pen across the table. Sign. Han stepped closer. Boss. Don't. Ji-hoon picked up the pen. Without another word, he signed the first page. Then the second. Then the third. Each signature stripped away another part of his empire. When the final document was complete, Victor laughed. You really gave up everything for one woman. Ji-hoon looked at Amara. Empires can be rebuilt. He reached for her hand. She can't. Victor clapped slowly. A beautiful speech. He snapped his fingers. Armed men raised their rifles. Amara's eyes widened. You promised. I lied. Before anyone could fire, gunshots erupted from the rooftops. Han and the captains who had remained loyal stormed the terminal from every direction. Chaos exploded across the docks. Bullets shattered windows. Men scrambled for cover. Han cut Amara's restraints while Ji-hoon shielded her behind a concrete barrier. Can you run? He asked. She nodded. Then don't let go of my hand. Together they sprinted through the crossfire. Victor tried to escape toward a waiting boat, but Han intercepted him. This is for threatening my family, Han growled. Moments later, the fight was over. The surviving attackers surrendered. Victor was left with nothing but the empire he had failed to steal. Months passed. Far from Seoul, in a quiet coastal town, a small seafood restaurant welcomed its first customers. Ji-hoon stood behind the counter wearing an apron instead of a tailored suit. When Amara walked in after finishing her shift at the local clinic, he greeted her with the same smile that once shocked hardened gangsters. The lunch crowd finally likes my cooking, he joked. I told you they would. She placed his hand gently on her stomach. I have another customer you'll need to cook for soon. Ji-hoon looked at her in confusion. Then he understood. We're having a baby. She nodded through happy tears. He wrapped his arms around her, holding her tighter than ever before. For years, people had feared Ji-hoon Kang because of the empire he ruled. But the greatest victory of his life came the day he chose love over power. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more unforgettable stories, and tell us in the comments. Would you have made the same choice if you were Ji-hoon? Sometimes the richest man isn't the one who owns the world, but the one who comes home to the people he loves.